Missable. I'm burning.
Hey, what's up, everyone? This is Jason Tucker, and this is WP Watercooler, episode number 331. I want to say thank you very much for all of you for coming and hanging out with us. We really appreciate it. You can go over to our website at WPwatercooler.com, where you figure out where to subscribe to this stuff and all the things that are going on here. If you like this stuff, hit the thumbs up button. We really appreciate it. This particular episode of WP Watercooler is brought to you by ServerPress, makers of desktop server. Make sure you go over to their website over at serverpress.com, where you can learn about how you can do local WordPress development. Say's always trying to mess me up doing my thing. I usually just hide the window. Let's go around the room real quick and get everyone introduced. Say, tell us about yourself.
No, I'm Say Reed. I make WordPress, teach WordPress, preach WordPress at Say Reed Media on all the things. And I'm running late today, so this is the kind of day that it is.
Awesome.
Wait, and I'm an co-organizer for WordCamp Long Beach. I have to remember to say that now.
Woo!
That's a thing.
That's a thing. Jonathan, how about you? Tell us about yourself.
I, Jonathan Wold, live in beautiful North Idaho, and I live and breathe WordPress.
Oh.
Dang, so sorry, dude.
Sounds like a condition.
Oh, man. Tevye, how about you? Tell us about yourself.
My name is Tevye Washburn, and I'm currently what my family and I like to call home free. We don't have a home right now, but we will be relocating to Mexico soon.
Mexico?
And yes, Playa del Carmen, Mexico, on the Yucatan Peninsula, right on the. It's in the Caribbean.
That's great.
Nice.
Yeah, and.
Yeah, tell us a bit more about you real quick.
Oh, yeah, sorry, I got distracted. That never happened.
So my main focus right now is Starfish Reviews, which is a review marketing plugin that I built with my developer, Matt, and we're really excited about it.
Cool.
But
Awesome.
I also do WordPress maintenance and support services too.
Nice. Well, good to have you on. We always like first timers, so thank you for coming out and hanging out with us. I'm Jason Tucker. You can find me over at Jason Tucker on Twitter. My website is jasontucker.blog. I do this show as well as another show called WP Blab. We actually took the week off last week for WP Blab, but we'll be picking it up again this month, and it's going to be awesome. So feel free to go take a look at that over at WPwatercooler.com. All right, so we talked a little bit about this during the pre-show, but I think we should probably open it up maybe for our viewers as well. How should we kind of start off with this topic of?
I have no idea because I was not here.
Do you like Shopify or WooCommerce better, and why?
You're just gonna start with that? That is a big cliff to jump off of, Jonathan.
What do you think?
I do think that we'll be talking about topics like that at WordCamp Long Beach on Sunday.
Okay.
Get the plug in there.
So
Yeah,
I guess it depends on how you want to approach that topic. So like as a customer,
Jonathan wants to approach it like a Mack truck.
No, like as a customer, I could care less. Every once in a while, depending on if the site's gonna, if I'm gonna be spending a lot of money on a website, then I probably want it to be, I know this thing's actually the transaction's gonna actually go through, and it's not like somebody just like set this up and forgot about it. If I'm just buying stickers off somebody's website or something like that, then it sure could be whatever.
Quick segue: like, how do you determine whether you can trust a site or not?
Is it a marketplace or is it a one offer type thing? Like this guy's selling a book and that's it.
Let's say it's a one-off. Like you go to a website and they're selling something. How do you decide as a customer whether you trust it or not?
I just give everyone my credit card number. I'm like, just take it. Oh, actually, no, wait. I don't actually buy things, so that's really my problem.
If it accepts Apple Pay, that's pretty cool. That will get me to, like, no joke, like start the whole process over and open up Safari and then pay that way. If it takes Venmo,
does WooCommerce offer an Apple Pay option?
Yep.
Is that new?
Yeah. Through Stripe you can.
Can you pay in Libra? yet? No?
I don't think so.
That's not a thing?
Not yet.
I'm ahead of the curve. No, I'm really not. I'm not pro that. Can you pay in Bitcoin? Do any of you pay in Bitcoin?
I've never owned a Bitcoin, so I have no idea.
Well, if you owned a whole Bitcoin, then you'd be...
I've never owned even a fraction of one. So,
whoa, dude. You're like, I've never been a millionaire. I don't know what that's like.
No, but trust, like deciding whether you trust, because a lot of people, we were talking about Amazon before the show. When you go on Amazon, my preference as a Prime subscriber is like, I want to buy things that have Prime shipping, and I typically avoid third parties. I'll certainly buy third party if there's nothing available. They all show up in the marketplace, but I like the first party products.
Jonathan crushing the small business market individually.
Well, yes, which is why it's problematic, because what Amazon ends up doing is that they'll identify popular third parties and then they'll white label and create their own versions of them. And it's like on the one side, pretty attractive. Like you get a lot of great products. They show up the next day or kind of whatever. But on the other side, you end up stifling. Like
on the other side, completely predatory behavior that crushes all innovation.
So what do you do there?
Well,
So
I mean,
Shopify-
thing, right? Like, oh, go ahead, Tevye.
Oh, I was just gonna say. So my perspective is Shopify takes away a lot of the hassle. So if you want easy, you got easy. But WooCommerce gives you so many options. Like Shopify's checkout is somewhat convoluted, in my opinion, and you can use some, an additional plugin or something on WooCommerce and make it super simple, where it's like, click, click, bam, you're done. And so it kind of just depends on, do you want to customize it a bunch, or do you want to?
Only good sometimes. I just want to point that out. Okay, sorry. Go ahead.
That's true. But if you're the store owner, you want it that way, right?
You want to remove friction for your customers, yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry, you just have to get over. Just keep talking past the interruption. It's your first time on the show, so you don't know that yet. The side comments are not meant to derail you; they're just for color.
It took me a couple of times to sort of deal with you.
Yeah.
It's been 330 what episodes? I think it took me about the last 30 episodes to figure that one out. But hey,
just keep talking; it'll all be fine. Breathe.
So I guess one of the things regarding this topic is you were saying that you can make it faster or slower or add additional steps or do any of those sorts of things. So the experience isn't the same from site to site. So it's like you're almost using an entirely new, checkout system.
So the big thing of what Shopify and WooCommerce are, they're platforms. And a platform, if it's doing its job well, like Microsoft is now the most valuable company in the world. It is a platform company. It focuses on building things that its customers and its suppliers use to build on top of.
Commerce is not a platform. It's a plugin.
WooCommerce is a platform.
You think WooCommerce is a platform? It's WordPress is the platform of WooCommerce.
So
that would make WooCommerce a scaffolding.
Yes, and
or like a deck.
Part of it's like a part of it's like where I think WooCommerce could go and what its current state is. It has the pieces of it being a platform. It calls itself a platform. And like if you think of WordPress as the operating system, WooCommerce would be like a flavor of it focused on commerce specifically.
Okay, well, if WordPress is an operating system, then yes. I'm just saying, there is a foundation upon it being built on WordPress. You can't have WooCommerce decoupled from WordPress.
Absolutely. But
it depends on what your level, your ground level term is.
So if WordPress is the operating system for creating on the web, WooCommerce, in my mind, is the sort of the platform that you use for commerce on the web. Like a lot of people building with WordPress don't intend to ever sell anything, but for those who do, it can serve as a base for that.
Yeah. I don't know. If I was going to sell one item on my website, I don't think I would install WooCommerce, and that would be my thing to do. It's like building. It's like you said, installing an operating system in your operating system.
Yeah, I mean, you're just going to put a PayPal button on that. And
you can do a PayPal button. You can do, if it's a digital product, you might use a digital solution. Like it really depends on what you're trying to do.
You can use the old Amazon Marketplace that Jonathan will never purchase from.
I have
PDD or even a Gravity form or something like that. That's what we use for our client.
Yep.
Totally, which will integrate with PayPal. But here's the thing. Are we talking about this from we're kind of double talking about this. We're kind of talking about it both from the user perspective as a purchaser and we're talking about it as the seller of the thing. So we kind of got to clarify what we're talking about here.
From the user perspective, Amazon offers, frankly, a great experience, right? But I think
you have to enter your credit card number.
The problem with Amazon long-term, the risk is that you can end up having a pretty homogenous ecosystem where Amazon like determines all the things. If they don't like something, that's it. Like you don't have independence, right? So I think the ideal is where platforms sit in tension with folks like Amazon on the other side who bring all these things together. And you can have people who can do very well independently outside of that. But there's a lot of friction there because with Amazon, you put your credit card in, you never have to do it again, and it all just kind of works.
I've been on company websites where I want to buy a product and I want to know, is the price that they're selling it at like the lowest price that I can get it? And most of the time it's the makers of this product. And I'll go on Amazon and I'll look because I know Amazon fluctuates the prices, and I'll look and I'm like, oh, it's cheaper. Awesome. Check that out. And it's prime shipping.
So doomed.
But what's really bad is now I'm looking at the reviews for it. And so I'm looking at the reviews to figure out whether or not I should even buy this thing or not.
Yeah. And Amazon suggests another product entirely as well.
I built one e-commerce website in my entire life, and that's it. That's not the business I want to be in. So that's where I'm coming from as just a straight.
So now here's where a platform comes in, because what Shopify does and does well is they'll provide all these tools to merchants under this premise of like, hey, we want to help you succeed. We're going to streamline a bunch of stuff. We're going to bring you all the parts and pieces, and we're going to make it as easy as possible for you to do your thing, to be independent and successful without having to need Amazon. And we'll try to streamline things so you can offer a good experience to your customers. That's the premise.
Right.
I would also like to point out that Shopify just introduced fulfillment as part of its component, which WooCommerce not doing. And that is a direct competition with Amazon. So, Shopify is moving more in that direction of being that third party. But here's the real question, right? Is like, if everyone's like, I just want to be on Amazon, and I got my Prime that I'm paying for, and I want it in a day or two, and all my numbers are in there, and it's trustworthy and all this stuff. The question is hosting your own e-commerce site even the direction of that it's going? You know what I mean? If Shopify being its own standalone thing, as much as they want to help you, you're still not Amazon.
Well, but Amazon has some problems. They have problems. Like there's a lot of complaints about scams and frauds. Like we have one of the
issues.
Yeah,
combination problems.
There are but there's realities where these days it's like, there's the question of like, am I getting the real product or not? Because they're an aggregator, like their job is to get as big as possible. And nowadays it's like, well, how much can we trust the reviews on Amazon? Like, and so they have problems that come because of their size and scale. I'm not going to drop my subscription anytime soon, but like it gives me pause, and that happens.
You're not going to stop using them, but you'll think about it for a minute. That's what I heard.
Absolutely, as will most.
I'll consider the fact that they are completely exploiting all of their employees, and that they're forcing all of their third-party market
model
completely downgrade their stuff. That will occur to me. But I'm not going to give it up. I'm going to keep buying it. Welcome to the
So if somebody puts Amazon checkout or payment method on their WooCommerce site, do you use that?
I mean, I think so, definitely. And I think that also kind of brings in that trustworthiness of Amazon while allowing you to be still this, the independent component, because that it's really about the payment process, right? I think is really the fear that people have, right? It's not necessarily maybe decided to buy a product because you're on their site, but then you're like, what's going to happen to my credit card number if people
see that they offer Amazon Pay? Because here's the difference. Like Apple Pay Apple's a platform. They they do a bunch of things, but they have this platform aspect.
Can we do an episode called "What is a Platform," please?
Totally.
Apple Pay.
Let's write that down.
It's sort of ecosystems, right? Like, so it gives me trust. Like, oh, I trust this. Amazon. If I see Amazon Pay, I might be just as likely to pull up Amazon and then search for the product in the search engine and just like get out of there entirely. right? Because it's more of a reminder of like,
that is way more work.
I mean, maybe like I've done that sometimes where it's like, okay, do they have this product on Amazon? Because then I can just one click and it's going to show up.
You should see how many windows I have open and the tabs in each one of those windows as I'm trying to decide, can I save $3 here versus here versus here?
What is the world? And then that $3 pays for like the employer to like actually provide, benefits to their employee, who then like, can send their kids to school and all this stuff. And Jeff Bezos is like, I'm as rich as everybody in the world. And we're like, should I give my $12 to him or my $15 to this small business? Or
hashtag profit margin.
Hashtag, I think we're so disconnected. This is a more philosophical concept, but I think we're so disconnected from, and this is probably Amazon's fault, from the purchasing process when we're online. It's so disconnected from who we're purchasing from. It becomes about, is it cheaper? How fast is it getting to me? And none of those things are human, right?
Right.
Like that's even like, you could go on their website and as web developers, we know how hard it is to build that site, maintain that site. You could be like, oh, they have so much good information. This is so useful. And then you're like, bounce, I'm going to go over here to Amazon anyway, without even thinking like, hey, maybe that is worth something. Maybe that is worth that extra $3 to spend, on that person's direct purchase so they don't pay Jeff Bezos.
You hit the nail on the head. I mean, that's what Amazon as an aggregator is designed to do. It's designed to like bring all the things to basically treat all of its supply as commodities. Like if it's just commodities, you're going to pick the one that's like the best price, right?
Exactly.
Right.
Like you may factor in a few things, but it comes down to price and quality. Like there's some basic things. You don't care about the story. Like
right. And that's what the individual website does do, right? It tells the story. It's like, here's our team. Here's how we make our product. Like all of that is all these, shop owners are like pouring out their hearts over here on their websites. And then, we're just like not even caring.
So I was talking to a merchant the other day.
Maybe they should just put all their effort into their Amazon and buying Amazon.
So here's the thing. I was talking to a merchant the other day, and they were asking like, should we go on Amazon or not? And I was like, well, okay, here you have to think about it for what it is. And one of the things that might make sense for some merchants is to have a product line that goes to Amazon, and to think of it like use the aggregation for what it is. Like you do
get leader.
Yeah, and think of it like an introduction to your brand. Right?
That's what I always tell people about Etsy. It's the same thing. I was like, keep a boutique line or a specific line of your best sellers on Etsy, and then maintain the rest of it on your shop. So once they develop a relationship with your product, when they purchase it, then they'll go to your website. You can send a discount thing and the product, whatever, and then they will build a direct relationship. So it's kind of like this introductory. But would you still hop over if you can't get that other thing on Amazon or on Etsy, you would go get that from them.
And that's what platforms provide. So Shopify will say, like Shopify has Amazon integrations, Woo has Amazon integrations. So it's like, we'll make it easy for some of those products to kind of go there. But when you think strategically as a merchant, it's like the relationship with my customer is what matters most. I don't want to give up that relationship, which is what Amazon demands. Amazon says you give up the relationship. We have the relationship with the customer. You're just a commodity. You
even give up your relationship with the price. Like it is so hilarious to me. I have a lot of author friends, and every so often they'll be like, hey, my book's on sale on Amazon for like $3. You should go buy it today. And I think it's both hilarious that they're like, randomly Amazon puts random stuff on sale for no reason, just because of algorithms, but also that in order to sell that book, the author is then promoting that lower cut price, which cuts out the publisher, cuts out their cut and everything. So even the authors or the creators of the product are willing to send you over to Amazon because they know that frictionless process
and
will more likely put the book in your hand.
That can be great if you're not trying to make money on book sales, which is pretty difficult.
Okay, well, if you're an author, that's
Well, like that leads to speaking or to consulting, or it depends on your strategy. But if your strategy is
poets, so that's the strategy.
If they get enough, If they get enough sales at that lower price point, though, it can bump them in their listings and rankings so that then they get more sales at their regular price. So there is some logic behind the madness of why they would want to do that.
Yeah, plus everyone wants to sell more books in general. It's not like if you sell 100 books at half price or 50 books at full price, it sounds better, and it is better if you've sold that 100 books and that more people have that book in your hand. But then that also leads to the whole, like, you know, printing, publisher, you know, that whole line down the end and where it ends up at the end of the day. Like, you know, it's so easy to have this conversation on an individual user or an individual shopkeeper conversation, right? What's best for this one isolated thing? I think it's when we aggregate the problem into the full thing that we start having these compound issues, right? So it's the same thing with like trash. It's not a big deal if you like put a piece of trash out, right? Just one piece of trash and maybe it won't matter. Or if you use one straw, maybe it doesn't matter, whatever, you use one piece of plastic. But when everybody does it, you know, that's when the compound problem comes in. And we, as humans, are really lacking that ability to take that bigger perspective. Jeff Bezos is not unable to take that bigger perspective. However, I would like to put it.
So for somebody who's running the shop, you know, I always look at a number of things, especially even on a normal website where you're not selling anything, but you have to pay for the hosting itself. You have to pay for the maintenance of it. You have to pay for all the crazy plugins that you need to be able to like figure out your tax and figure out your shipping and figure out all your stuff, or Jetpack or whatever the other types of things that you have to have for all that. So you have all of those expenses that you have to pay for. Or you go with something like Shopify where that's all kind of worked out and you're just paying for whatever Shopify provides, and there's a cut that happens with that and things just happen. So like, should people start with one versus the other? Are they ditching WooCommerce to go to Shopify? I mean, I've seen like both ways here. So how do we navigate?
They sell CBD, they're ditching Shopify for WooCommerce.
Wait, what, Tevya? Are they going the other way?
I said if they're selling anything CBD related, they're ditching Shopify for WooCommerce because Shopify is shutting them down.
Wait, so is WooCommerce. Well, WooCommerce, if you're connected to the main WordPress.
They actually backed off on that and said they'll support it now.
That was smart as hell.
Yeah.
So, all right.
That was real smart.
Let's touch on the fundamental here. So on the ones like a platform that focuses on empowering its merchants is the best way to compete with Amazon. Like Ben Thompson.
That's Shopify's whole method right now.
So, but from my perspective, and Ben Thompson, on Stratechery.com, he writes about this, and this was what kind of got me thinking about it a while back. Like Shopify is a good bet against Amazon. From my perspective, though, I see problems with Shopify from an open web perspective, right? Like their approach to data control, their approach to like, it's a closed source ecosystem, right? Like if you don't want on Shopify, you can't leave. With
it's a private company.
Yeah, and it's a public company now.
Well, okay, but I mean, like.
Well, and then that point,
profit motivated company, so it's closed. Yes. Yeah.
Well, it's even more that because now they have quarterly. I was on their earnings call earlier this week, and investors.
How many shares of Shopify do you own, Jonathan?
0.
Okay, is that 3 or 0?
Because 0. But they are hungry for growth, and that's leading Shopify into things like Shopify Capital, which is like cash advances, basically on like there's all sorts of products. That's what?
PayPal does that. PayPal will do cash advances to its vendors also.
And it's like, it depends on how you look at it. Is it a positive or negative? It's kind of a question mark. Anyway, ultimately, I suggest that Woo is a better platform for the open web. If you don't like what's happening with whoever you're hosted with, you could leave and it's still your WordPress. With Shopify, if you don't like it, you're stuck. You can't go anywhere.
I mean, and retooling your entire thing is complicated.
Right. Current state, like Shopify has 4,000 plus employees, a $35 billion market cap, and
depressing.
But they have some fundamentals that I think are give it a chance. So I'm rooting for Woo.
I mean, I hope so. Otherwise, you are on the wrong show.
Yeah. So do you trust Amazon reviews more, or Shopify reviews, or
Oh,
WooCommerce
dude,
reviews?
everything's gamed, and everything can be gamed, and everything will be gamed.
No, I still do. I still do trust reviews. I just evaluate them more like
Dude,
critically.
I've received emails from companies that say, "Hey, we know you bought this product from us. We're wondering if you would like another one of our products. And here's how this works. We'll send you a PayPal payment, and then we want you to go on Amazon and pay for the product using your own credit card, like buy your own stuff.
Verified seller.
Then you let us know that you received it, and then we want you to write a review about it. And if you write us a good review, not a positive review, a good review, then we'll send you another product for you to check out."
Yeah.
So
And
they
I was like,
review and send you a product.
"Oh yeah, so they're paying you all different ways."
And they're not consciously asking you to say good things, but it's implied. It's implied that it's like, oh,
That's
well,
why they said we want you to give us a good review, or not like a positive review, but rather like make sure your review is good. Like you took some time writing it, and you do it very well. And I'm like, this is starting to sound like you're trying to pay me to write you a good review.
It's like the restaurants that are like, we'll give you a free dessert for your Yelp review. And it's like, are you really showing your server your 1-star review to get your free dessert? I don't think that's what's happening.
yeah.
Like, it's not the thing. You're like, oh, well, here's my review. You suck. Can I have my dessert now? I want my sauce, please. That's not a thing. Go ahead.
I was going to say, you mentioned reading them much more critically now. So like what kind of filters or what kind of things do you have in mind as you read over those reviews, knowing that some of them are probably gamed?
I actually put more weight into like reviews that have cons listed, and I sort of evaluate the cons. If I'm reviewing a business, I immediately look for the negative reviews for that business, and I look for how the owner responded. The owner's response says more to me about whether I'll do business with them, because bad things will always happen. Someone will always have a bad experience. Yeah. When I see an owner,
nobody's perfect.
When I see an owner come in and like acknowledge it, and like basically I'm looking for, are they defensive about it? Are they like, how do they respond? And if they respond well, that negative review does more for me to say, yeah, I'm going to do business with this company than a bunch of positives.
I use a product called FakeSpot. And FakeSpot's a Chrome extension that you install on your computer, and it will go and look for all the different reviews that are on there and determine if these people have been writing hundreds of reviews, tens of reviews. It figures out, there's an algorithm there that's looking at to figure out if there's reviews that are kind of being paid for.
FakeSpot
works with Amazon, Best Buy, Sephora, Walmart, TripAdvisor, and Yelp.
My question to you, Jonathan, is if there are no negative reviews for you to make that judgment by, just because maybe the product's super great, then what?
I feel it makes me uncomfortable actually when there's no negative.
That's really interesting.
Like
companies are like, we only want positive reviews, and these negative reviews suck. And you're like, I'm evaluating you by your negative reviews.
Well, and here's a good example. Like if there's a new app and it's all 5 stars in the App Store, I assume that it must be brand new. But like, I'm like, okay, I'm going to kind of wait for a moment here, because it's like, there's like, anyway, it's there. If you go straight to perfect, it's like, well, where's the room for growth? Like, that just seems really hard to believe.
Statistically, that's very typical of most consumers these days. That's how most perceive it too. You don't want 100% 5-star reviews.
If you're too good, you're not authentic.
So confession, I used to cheat on my tests as a homeschool student. I didn't really like math. I learned pretty quickly that you don't go for 100% when you're cheating. Like,
they teach you that in public school too, just so you know. I've
learned so much about you in this episode, Jonathan. Even more than the therapy episode we did.
Wait, you didn't already know that he was homeschooled? Come on.
I did know. You can tell. No, I did know that he was homeschooled. Sorry.
You could tell.
I didn't know that he was homeschooled, but I just making my personality assessments. That's all.
Oh man.
You're not looking at the time, Jason.
Oh, I'm looking at the time.
Okay.
we started a minute late.
Okay. I was like, I have more things to say if you're not going to call this.
No, we're holding it to half an hour. So I want to say thank you very much for all of you for hanging out with us and talking with us. You know, water cooler is just a mixed bag of stuff. There's all sorts of fun stuff that happens around here, and sometimes we're
That's our new tagline: water cooler. We're a mixed bag.